the sheep was a good idea. Sleep in it.
Yeah.
Looks like a chicken standing on top of the bed. Okay. Well, let's sleep. System. I get another Neverite home party. In fact, shares and some people. The reason any good importance hang around and talking together. Must bring all our friends home. I asked any mob, remember, any mob whatsoever.
Alright. Now let's point the cat. Very dark and dangerous.
Spooky, isn't it? Oh, lots of friends around out here. Come on, friend. I don't want you to kill my other friends, please. You friend. Come on, fella. Yes. Oh, no! Uh-oh. No! Ah! I can't get him in.
Something over there. My viewers, today what we're gonna do is attempt to survive. So actually day one of a new series. Wait, I'm gonna win now? I'm gonna win now. This is a really hard to know space.
And today, I wanted to do a survival Minecraft challenge, like we used to do back in the console days. And the one I decided would be fun. Wow, can you read the title? Because I don't think.
Wait, I'm gonna win now? I'm gonna win now. This is a really hard to know space.
And today,
When this cut is done. Okay, we're in. Oh, it's fine. Die, don't worry.
you're a capitalist pig just like them. Even in those situations, it's still kind of like, you know, you can theoretically be fine with it. But if you did look around, you can find obsidian here. You can find crossbows. You can find crying obsidian. You can find the best piece of music in, you know, Minecraft so far, which is wonderful. You can jam out to it before you've even chopped down a tree, although a jukebox requires wood. But ignoring that, and indeed, yes, if you are lucky enough, you will find somewhere around here not only, again, pretty good loot in that form and soul sand and gold blocks and stuff, but eventually you'll find yourself something like a Neverite hoe with Fortune 2, or if you're really lucky, Neverite leggings with some dumb enchantment. Also, you can find Neverite gear and indeed Neverite scraps itself here in the Piglin Bastion. And, you know, this is obviously something you can do without having chopped down a single tree, because if I just wasn't dumb and tried to open the chest in front of Piglins, then I would have been able to get myself a Neverite hoe with an enchantment on before I chopped down a single tree. And indeed, there's a way out really easily, because there would have been a ruined portal not too far away. I could have gone back to the overworld and then lived my normal life just with a Neverite hoe as well. But the real question here isn't that, like, oh yeah, can you get Neverite before you chop down a tree? Because yes, you can, but the thing is, even if they didn't add ruined portals to the game, which is what that particular complaint was about, that still would have been possible. You can still find things in chests in Minecraft, all over the place, not just these brand new structures, the ruined portals and the Piglin Bastions, although not a single thing in this chest. But although you can find, you know, although these structures have loot, and this is arguably some of the better loot tables in the game, it sure is just my luck that I get another Neverite hoe, huh? But yeah, no, Minecraft really wants me to have some hoes as all I'm learning today. But my point is that you can get multiple pieces of Neverite gear sometimes before you chop down a single tree, and is that okay? And the simple simple answer is, well, ideally not, but it actually is significantly harder to go this route than it is to go otherwise. I mean, the fact that we had to stop ourselves from dying twice via this, we died because of a dumb thing I did, jumping onto a Crimson Vine, but, I actually died because I wasn't properly prepared for that because I didn't have many blocks. I didn't have anything. I was just using free stuff from the overworld, but, I mean, because a player theoretically could do it, it's like, wait, isn't that messed up? Isn't that crazy that a Minecraft player could not learn how to chop down trees because they're busy doing this stuff? But the simple answer is that even though this is theoretically possible, it's not what most players are going to do. It's a fun little edge case run that I spent 45 minutes doing and proving to be possible, although, my deaths maybe make that seem otherwise. I should have done the creative cut thing and just be like, oh, I totally nailed it the first time. I don't know what you guys are talking about. That's what everyone on YouTube does. But I like being honest before. But yeah, the thing is even though you can do it, it's not the most viable path, and that's the important thing. But what I do think is the one thing I feel like there is a little bit of truth towards is the fact that you shouldn't be able to find Netherite tools anywhere. Put some diamond stuff, or if you have to make it high-end enchantments or enchanted books, something really high-end that people want to find, sure, in these chests. Saddles are even a great thing, because there's lots of loot that you can put into these chests, make them worthwhile for players. I think Netherite loot shouldn't be included though, because Netherite is meant to be this high tier of gear that you mostly get via mining. Maybe they feel like it's fun to have like a second way to get it. It's not as efficient as mining, but like it's gonna be some people's way to access it. Maybe it makes it worthwhile that way. But I feel like Minecraft power creeps with diamonds used to be only obtainable through mining, and then it was mining and loot, and then it's mining, loot, and trading, and now diamonds are just diamond gear is so easily obtained. Like everyone has far too much of it, right? Because it's so much easier to obtain than it is to use for most people. And I worry that Netherite might become that eventually. Netherite might become this kind of equivalent where it's just like, oh yeah, you find so much of it when you're exploring the Nether in these chests that it's just like, why would you need to mine something? It lasts so long that you need to be careful with how often you're giving it out. That's my 2 cents on this one, and let me know what you think. So yeah, in this Minecraft world, you can theoretically get to the Nether, you can get some Netherite stuff, which might include some armor, before you've even chopped down a tree. In most Minecraft worlds that'll be true, and in some Minecraft worlds it will be easier to beat the game than otherwise, but in most it's not the case. For most players, most of the time, it's going to be easier to chop down wood, and the reason that I feel like this isn't the biggest problem is because they've already made this a problem with NPC villages, for instance. Like, if you wanted people to have to play the game by themselves, spawning inside of a village, like we did on the spawn, is a really bad example of that. If this is someone's first ever Minecraft world, they're going to be so confused about how you're meant to play, because the villagers seem like they are the primary mechanic. If you want players to work for everything, then this loot is a problem. I mean, give them free apples and they won't know how to chop down a tree. Give them free potatoes, they won't understand how farming works. There is like an element of that you could argue, but I feel like that there's so many structures that already do this, that adding a couple more isn't going to be a big deal. However, just as a little counterpoint on that, because I just found this quite interesting, this particular seed, if I'd known which direction to look, and I didn't because I was just goofing off in survival, then what you would have found is just over here to the south of the spawn, there's an amazing portal right here with a tree on top of it, which is kind of fun. But there's a portal right over here, which, as you can see, is all obsidian, crying obsidian. And in the chest, there is 3 bits of obsidian, a golden apple, and a looting sword. So all we need to do is find one. I'm pretty sure, at least. And today, I wanted to do a
at the moment, because this bit here is all spruce and the roof there is still the old style. But here you can see in a bit more detail what I've added on. I've been using some warped blocks as well. I've made the entrances slightly different, using some walls, some chains, etc. As it looks a lot cleaner than it used to. But it's time to move up a level to this one here. Let's see what we can do. So unfortunately, the time lapse I just recorded corrupted. And I think one of the main reasons is because of these stupid chickens that are just creating so much lag. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to get rid of this. But anyway, here's what I've done for the next level, as you can see here. I've added a bit of cyan concrete powder, some different pillars. I've changed this fence to be like a wall mixed with some fence, blackstone added in, etc. And obviously the roof and this little bit here. Kind of bottom heavy, so I thought I'd change them to this sort of andesite and lodestone design, which looks a lot better. I also changed the roof from stone and andesite to gargoyles and warped planks, and sort of made the little bit sticking out kind of fancier before starting on the bit on the inside there, where I'm adding on some fences, some walls, some chains. Plus I've been using some blackstone instead of the spruce logs that were there before, and all in all, looking a lot cleaner. And I copied and pasted this all the way around. It looks kind of weird at the moment because this bit is all spruce and roof there is still the old style. But here you can see in a bit more detail what I've added on. I've been using some warped blocks as well. I've made the entrances slightly different, using some walls, some chains, etc. I just think it looks a lot cleaner than it used to. But it's time to move up a level to this one here. Let's see what we can do. So unfortunately, the time lapse I just recorded corrupted. And I think one of the main reasons is because of these stupid chickens that are just creating so much lag. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to get rid of this. But anyway, here's what I've done for the next level, as you can see here. I've added in a bit of cyan concrete powder, some different pillars. I've changed this fence to be like a wall mixed with some fence, blackstone added in, etc. And obviously the roof and this little bit here as well. I've also added in some sandstone.
So everybody, in the last episode, I just decided to do like a full-on cut footage of how I died, so everybody can see the sad death. Because I was wondering, how did I die? So this is a copy of the world, hardcore world. So. This is what's going to be when I die. So first, I need to find the iron golem and not get killed by a zombie. That's what I thought I may be killed by. But I was killed by the big iron guy. Everybody, that's why the other video was short. It wasn't, there was a lot of cuts. This never happened. It's just happening right now. Where am I? What happened? No. If that's my house, I'll be very mad. If that's my house, I'll be very mad. If that's my house, I'll be very mad. And if you like this video, please subscribe. But if you watch my hardcore series, it'll be very sad to see this. All I'm doing right now is wait. The iron golem. Where is he? Where's that iron golem? Where are you? Tell me. There you are. There you are, iron golem. You must help me. Give me your iron. Oh. No. How did I die? No, the series is over. This is so bad. No, I couldn't have died, everybody. This is impossible. This hasn't happened.
20 easy Minecraft tricks to impress your friends. A multiplayer server is basically an excuse to show off to your friends. So here are some of the stupidly simple ways to look like a super genius in front of them. And hey, the YouTube analytics gods bet me that you can't hit subscribe before I hit the ground. So if you want to prove them wrong, land on that subscribe button down below. It's free and it helps out a ton. Oh, and what's this at my spawn? Well, of course, it's an ad read. This video is sponsored by Core. Core is a new online platform powered by the Unreal Engine to allow anyone, including you, to create and play PC games for free. Any genre you can think of, it's here. Whether it's a marble racing game like Roll'em, an FPS like Silly Gun Game, or my personal favorite, Tower of Terror, which is a game where you try to climb up different randomly generated obstacle courses. With a library of games getting bigger every day, now is definitely the time to join, especially with Core's current student game dev hackathon, where they offer over $10,000 worth in prizes, as well as workshops and guides to learn to make better games. Details on the contest, as well as a download link to Core in the description down below. So get started on a new slew of games today, and even create your own. Thanks, Core. Number 1. Secret entrances in Minecraft are very cool to pull off, but most of the time, with redstone and such, they take a lot of work. So for a simpler option, you can build one using just this one block. Seriously, if you place down a shulker box with a block above your head, you can actually phase through the shulker box when you open it up to get sneakily into your base. To any onlookers, it looks like you just fell through solid ground, which I guess you did, making this even cooler. And it's definitely the new way I'm getting into my mines. Number 2. If you're playing on someone else's SMP, then teleportation is not a luxury that most of us have. That is, until recent updates. Because, as you can see, if I throw this ender pearl down into a bubble stream, it'll keep it steady. Which then, folks, that creates something called an ender pearl stasis chamber. Which sounds cool, but in execution it's even cooler. If you partner this with pistons to offset the ender pearl, then you can set up a timer system to return you back to home after a day of mining. So if you just want to run away from your base for a day's journey and then come back by nighttime, this is the way to do it. Number 3. I'm not breaking any new ground by saying that the elytra is an invaluable item to Minecraft. And sure enough, it's transformed the landscape of survival. So if you're trying to impress your friends who also have elytra wings, then you might be able to do that by flying through a 1x1 hole. By lining yourself up right, you can get a clean shot through a 1x1 hole just like that. And to any bystanders, it looks like you pull it off the impossible. So by throwing a couple of 1x1 gaps into your base, you might be able to impress those friends who just use the elytra for long distance travel. Number 4. Building a bubble elevator in Minecraft is already a huge help for fast distance travel. But setting one up isn't always a cakewalk. As anyone who's ever built one knows, you need full water source blocks all the way up for this to work. That is, until you use this trick by placing kelp on the bottom soul sand. By just having one water source flowing down the tube, every kelp that you place through that flowing water will replace it and turn it into a full water source block. Which means you just built a fully functional bubble elevator without having to do the mandatory bucket duty that comes with. Number 5. Let's say you built a path up to your base using gravel. But later on you decided that andesite would actually work better for the build. So how do you replace it? Do you go through that whole path removing every piece of gravel and then place andesite into the empty holes? Because if you're doing that, you're wasting time. Rather, what you should be doing is if you have an Instamine tool and then the block you want to replace in your offhand, every time that you hit left click and right click at the same time on a block, you're able to instantly replace it with the block that you want to use, helping you clean up those mistakes without any extra headache. Number 6. Floating in Minecraft survival sounds like a pipe dream, or if you're in the end, a bad nightmare. So instead, if you want to use floating to your advantage, you can start by spam clicking the top scaffold on a pillar of the stuff. After a few tries of mashing your mouse button as fast as you can, you'll notice that there should be 1 or 2 scaffolding blocks floating off in the distance. Now, keep in mind, these are just client-side ghost blocks, and to any onlookers, you'll look like you're floating mid-air. But just be careful where you do this, because if you're on a server that has flying disabled, doing this could get you kicked for flying if you stand on it for too long. Number 7. If you want to make your build blast-proof, then most of the time you have to resort to some pretty ugly blocks. Don't get me wrong, obsidian can look good in certain cases, but something tells me a big obsidian wall around your base just isn't mashing with the aesthetic. So in that case, it's actually possible to build an entire blast-proof wall out of waterlogged blocks. And folks, this works with any waterlogged block, which pretty much ensures that anyone trying to blow up your wall is going to be confused as to why it's not working. Number 8. Breaking the unbreakable blocks in Minecraft is possible, but if you've ever tried to make a hole in the nether roof, you know that it's a long, drawn-out process. So if you're trying to clear out the end portal frames for a sand duper without having to do all that extra legwork, fortunately, there's an even stranger way to get rid of them. And it's all thanks to the fungus among us. Sure enough, if you plant a giant red mushroom on a dirt block like so with a block above it like this, then when you bone meal it, it should grow as usual, and by doing that, it breaks the 3 end portal frames on the side, meaning you can skip the boredom and just be a fun guy. Number 9. Getting the full effect from a splash potion more often than not seems like a fantasy and not so much a reality. But as it turns out, to bring this promise into the present, all you have to do is look straight up and land a splash potion square on your noggin. By doing that, you hit the sweet spot right on your character's hitbox, and that'll help you sport the splash potion effect as advertised. Better yet, it also works with dispensers, meaning you can set up the proper potion systems to give you the full effect each time, which will have your friends wondering why your speed system works so much better than theirs. Number 10. Everybody loves the frugal friend. So if you're able to help your friends save on materials before a big build, it goes a long way to making you the hero. And to do that, all you've got to do is make stairs on the stone cutter. Seriously, by taking your stone of choice and putting it in this machine instead of the crafting table, you can save so much more per block, and when you're doing a big project, that really adds up. Unfortunately, this trick still doesn't work on any wood stair variants, but if you're trying to make stone steps, then this can save you a couple trips to the quarry. Number 11. A looting 3 sword is a hot ticket item. So if you don't have mending on it, you might not want to use up the full durability, which is why it's helpful to know that if you're holding the looting sword while mobs die of a splash potion of harming, that looting effect is still applied to them. This can be especially helpful if you're trying to clear through a large group of mobs with looting, but not actually trying to use up that much durability on your sword. So if you got the potions to fund it, then all you gotta do is quickly switch over to your sword after throwing a potion, or throw the potion from your offhand. And just like that, you'll be able to rack up the loot without having to scuff up your special sword. Number 12. As soon as 1.16 kicked off, then the search for netherite was on. And since you need multiple ancient debris to actually make a netherite ingot to upgrade your tools, then you're gonna need a lot of the stuff. If you're not looking to spend the next hours of your life mining through netherrack, instead you might find better rewards by using explosives in the nether to find it. Whether it's by using bed explosions or TNT duplication, high-powered explosives is absolutely the best way to clear out the nether for your ancient debris. So while the rest of your friends are just mining for their supply, you'll be decked out to the nines, because unlike them, you used your full arsenal and then some. Number 13. Getting to the top of the nether has always been more desirable than walking through the dimension on foot. But historically, the glitches to get on top of that bedrock plate have not always been the most kind to work with. That is, until you showed up and used the power of ender pearls to blast right through the roof. All it takes is holding spacebar on a ladder and throwing one of these projectiles to land yourself right up on top. And as soon as you got a nether portal up there, then you might have just found the perfect location for your server's nether hub, letting you travel a large amount of blocks with little to no hassle. Number 14. The pillager mob definitely has a problem with anger management, but if you're trying to impress your friends as the master pacifist, then you should know that it's actually possible to take one of these monsters and bring it over to the good side. You see, just as crossbows work for us, they can actually have their crossbows break, meaning that if you bait them out of enough shots, they'll eventually be left with no weapon in sight. And at that point, they might still seem a little grumpy, but sure enough, they're pacified. And while I wouldn't feel comfortable reuniting them with society just yet, with progress like this, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Number 15. Keeping monsters away from your base is a tricky and often large problem to solve. So if you're not looking to establish a huge wall around your base, then what might be more apropos is using these carpet barriers. You see, what just looks like a standard carpet to you and me, and even functions like one, to the mobs turns out to be a dangerous pit. Because if you dig a pit 6 blocks deep, then place string to fill it up and then the carpet right on top, the mobs don't see the string or carpet that's in front of them, meaning you have an easy access and colorful bridge, and they just see no option in sight to get to your base. Number 16. Minecart rides can be a ton of fun, but unless you got the proper power behind you, you're not getting very far very fast in one of these. That is, until you partner with Minecraft's other form of travel, the boat. As it turns out, if you push a minecart on top of a boat, then it's actually possible to get the minecart inside of the boat. And from there, you're able to get inside the boat and use its power to manipulate the speed and direction of the minecart, giving you the wacky and also perfect form of travel to wherever you're headed. Number 17. If you're trying to keep your valuables safe, then being able to detect intruders is a huge plus. But tripwire hooks are kinda obvious. So instead, we gotta rely on this little guy. Since the pufferfish's hitbox expands when it's scared, as soon as a player, or another mob for that matter, gets close, then this system will be able to detect them and deploy a trap to keep them at bay. Although, for the sake of being thorough, this will only detect players if they're in survival, but really, if you got a creative player coming towards your base, you got bigger problems than a pufferfish is gonna save. Number 18. The villager trading market, much like the stock market, can be a lucrative, yet grueling task to undertake. Though, unlike the stock market, it's actually possible to get perfect trades for the villagers that you want. And fortunately, it's pretty easy to do that. By placing and replacing the same workstation next to a villager, you're essentially able to re-roll what they give you. Meaning not only can you get yourself a mending book villager, but you can also get it at an affordable price, which is a level of purchase power that many of us would have killed for. And if Martha Stewart had this kind of help, she probably wouldn't have ended up in prison. Number 19. To most people in Minecraft, the signs seem pretty limited. I mean, save for the different colored dyes and wood types, how much else can you really do? Well, as it turns out, through the help of Unicode characters, there's actually quite a lot that you can add to these little things. And since these characters and emojis aren't exactly obvious to use, they can add some really fun diversity to your maps. I mean, if anything, it's just so that I don't have to look at another arrow that looks like this, but instead this. It's just so much nicer. Number 20. Plenty of players in Minecraft want minimap markers. I mean, that's definitely the reason it's in every Minecraft mod pack I've ever seen. But a feature that passed most people by is that by right-clicking on a banner, you're able to add it onto the map and show exactly where it is, which can create some really interesting and detailed maps if you want, especially when zoomed out. Better yet, throw a name on that banner, and then as soon as you right-click on it, you'll actually see that custom name on the map. So if you're trying to find home, you don't have to wonder where it is. Just look on it, and oh, there it is, home. And with that, folks, wow that subscribe button down below, and have a good one, alright? 41 more Minecraft things to do when you're bored at home. For whatever reason, when you're stuck at home, the boredom is sure to set in. So today, I've loaded up a bunch more activities, quests, and projects to keep you busy and cure that boredom. And also, if you've heard this one, say it with me, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe. If you want, you can always unsubscribe later. Thanks. So to start off, we're gonna need a bunch of materials, so how about going to the Nether? And no, not for just what's there, but actually for building one of these, a piglin trade farm. Trading with piglins is such a great way to get all kinds of different materials, from ender pearls to obsidian, you name it, it's great. And don't worry if you don't have any redstone knowledge, because building one of these is so simple that even I could do it, and that's saying something. Frankly, the hardest part of it might just be trapping the piglin used for it. But if you are looking for a steady stream of piglin for your trades, then how about going to one of these, a Bastion Remnant? Now admittedly, these things do look a little worse for wear, so how about actually refurbishing one of these Bastion Remnants when you conquer it? By sprucing up the place with some of the new wood types that were introduced in the Nether update and really just making it look more like a home, you can make a really cool base out of one of these things. Once you get the piglin out of there, this is a great way to have a ready-made base when you head to the Nether. Although, if you want to make sure that no other hostile mobs start to spawn next to your base and take it over, slabbing the Nether is a great way to get over that. Clearly, light level isn't as much of a problem in the Nether as it it is in the overworld. So to stop spawning here, we have to place down half slabs or buttons to get mobs not to be able to spawn. Once you have all those blocks placed out, then you'll have a completely hostile-free nether, which is pretty sweet, and especially helpful if you want to control the nether spawns, which gives you the perfect opportunity to build an AFK fortress farm. By converting one of the many nether fortress cross sections into one of these, then you're able to net yourself plenty of hard to obtain mob drops, and best of all, you're able to get them in bulk. So whether it's blaze rods for your furnaces, magma cream for your burns, or best yet, wither skulls for your boss fights, this is the best way to get a whole bunch of them, which means you'll have wither skulls as far as the eye can see. But hey, those aren't doing much good in a chest, so how about putting them into an auto wither killer instead? By setting it up like so underneath the end return portal, you're able to use all of these different minecarts to literally squish the wither dry of its nether star. And best part about it, it's reusable, so for all of those beacons that you need, no sweat, you can do it with one of these. Although unfortunately, even with all of the beacons in the world, you're still not going to be able to get yourself fire resistance with one of these, which makes certain parts of the nether still off limits to you.
At Ring, we've reinvented the doorbell, and now we're reinventing home security with Ring Alarm. It's the simplest, fully customizing, easy installing, home protecting, monitor everything, camera watching, flood sensing, frozen pipe alerting, smoke detecting, door locking, Alexa integrating, panic diverting, crime deterring, professional monitoring, first responding, security system that we.
However, if you want to get rid of those lava lake issues, then no problem. All you have to do is just basalt or drain the nether. By rubbing ice across the lava lakes, we're able to completely safeguard these and make bridges for ourselves, which is cool in its own right, but if you really want to do the job right, then you gotta drain the entire nether using gravity blocks. Sure, it's slow and tedious, but it's gonna make all your searches for netherite later on so much easier. Which, let me tell you, is an absolute necessity if you're trying to get a full netherite beacon. While many others have tried this challenge, I haven't actually seen anyone do it. And the closest attempt I've seen so far is TK, who did a netherite shell around a gold beacon. But if you want to set yourself your own world record, then by all means, doing a full netherite beacon is on your list. And as you place the last block to finish that up after hours of work, how about switching on the Haste 2 effect? Because you're gonna need it if you want to clear out the area for this, a high efficiency witch farm. If you're a redstone minded or technical player, you're well familiar with one of these. And while there are some smaller designs that are able to get you some less efficient results, for the kind of redstone we're going to be needing, we need to pump this up way faster. So to do that, we need a hole. Not just any hole, but a big, huge hole that lets no other mobs spawn. So if you don't want to dig that all out by hand, and I don't blame you, then you're going to need a world eater. Now, as the name suggests, using one of these, you'll drop down carpet bombs at TNT and completely level the area for you. Now, getting the slime blocks and mechanical parts for one of these is not an easy task, but if you're willing to do it, then any hole or quarry you need dug, it's gonna be done and then some. Though, if that's still not enough TNT for you, then I've got just something right up your alley. A TNT blast chamber. Many of us are familiar with the fact of TNT clearing out blocks in regular farms, such as a tree farm, a cobblestone farm, whatever. But what if we could combine all of those farms into one big funnel and have all of their different blocks just feed into this thing? That's a TNT blast chamber. And if you're looking for a hassle-free way to get all the blocks you need for one of your big builds, this is the way to do it. That said, if you're gonna try to have a tree farm feed into this, then your current bone meal storage isn't gonna cut it. So the answer to your problem there is an automatic bone meal farm. I personally find that kelp works pretty well for this. And trust me, the design that we have here does not speak to the amount of bone meal we can get out of one of these things. And if you're willing to crank that efficiency on one of these composter chains, then you're never gonna have to worry about crafting bone meal from skeletons again. But hey, maybe you don't want to worry about bone meal at all, because you don't need it for farms like this, which is a villager-based breeder and carrot potato farm. And yeah, you heard me right, one of these designs is able to kill two birds with one stone and both breed you new villagers, as well as get you plenty of crops. So if your town's looking for a good harvest and a population boost, then this is definitely the method you gotta choose. And with all that influx of new villagers, you're gonna see a lot of the same faces walking around. So if you want to diversify a bit, then how about trying to find a villager of every single biome variant? There's more variation here than I think a lot of us even notice. And plus, it gives you quite the bit of a scavenger hunt trying to track them all down. And if you want to make them even more valuable, then push them through a villager zombification machine. By using one of these, we're able to manipulate the way the game treats cured villagers. Which is, if you trade with a villager that you cure, then you're able to get way cheaper trades. Although, word to the wise, you might want to build one of these on hard mode, because in other modes, it's only a % chance that the villager zombifies instead of a guarantee. Which, if you want to get back at that zombie for all the villagers that it's slain, then you gotta run it through a mob head farm. By funneling in creepers in your mob of choice, you're able to make it so that when those creepers blow up, you'll get the head of the monster that it just killed. Although clearly a regular creeper isn't cut for this, so what you gotta find is a perfect stormy location and a good channeling trident to get all of those charged creepers needed for your mob head needs. After a few rounds of this, you'll have all the heads you'll need for your prize trophy room. And if you're looking for even more prizes to show off, then you need to get a fully stacked aquarium with every tropical fish variant. There are a surprising amount of these different suckers to catch, and for the amount of exploring you're gonna need to do to get a full set, I'm gonna have to recommend a wetsuit, or at least some water breathing potions. But luckily, through the help of water buckets, we're able to stash them in a totally humane manner and get them back to our base, which will help your little aquarium become one of the famous tourist traps just like Monterey Bay. And if you're looking to offer a little bit more R&R for those incoming travelers, then I'd highly recommend designing a redstone minigame for them. While laying one of these out and playtesting it might seem like a daunting task, all it takes is a couple of the new target blocks and redstone circuits to make some really fun carnival games. And hey, from that point, all you need is a randomizer circuit and boom, you turn that carnival game into a way to take all of your friends' diamonds. So why not just own up to it and house that entire money-grubbing scheme inside of a casino? All you need are some ornate walls, some cocktails, and most importantly, games of chance, and you'll be able to turn into the fat cat business person I know you can be, putting your operation right up there with some of the biggest in Vegas.
Today, we are here to witness the magic of new MSI Summit.
Introducing the MSI Summit E13 Flip Evo and Summit E16 Flip. Packed full of unprecedented performance, enterprise-grade security, and outstanding battery life into a 360-degree flippable design. Together with the new MSI Pen and the second-generation MSI docking station, the Summit E13 Flip Evo and Summit E16 Flip greatly enhance your productivity. Applying the same proportions, the Summit E13 Flip Evo and Summit E16 Flip come with a 16x10 monitor design.
The Summit E13 Evo is designed with the latest Intel Evo platform, which makes the laptops ideal for the demand of fast-paced work. The 11th Gen Intel processor improves performance by 150%, and Intel Iris Xe graphics are 4.5 times faster than previous Gen UHD graphics.
Wi-Fi 6E can significantly improve your network speed and bandwidth performance. You'll have a much cleaner bandwidth without disturbance from all other electronic devices around you. It ensures you high-speed internet.
The Summit E16 Flip is powered by the latest NVIDIA graphics card. The bigger screen and powerful horsepower handle a wider range of demanding tasks.
With the exclusive new thermal design, even when your CPU is fully loaded, the Summit E16 Flip still runs very quietly under 35 decibels.
MSI is ready to provide you the powerful, adaptable, portable device. So, which one is your favorite?
Using the latest MPP 2.0 technology, the MSI Pen provides stable and the best possible state-of-the-art performance. It has 4096 pressure levels, making your writing and drawings appear more natural on screen. The weight and size is perfectly crafted. From annotation and note-keeping to digital signatures, this precise pen is a perfect match with the Summit E13 Flip and Summit E16 Flip.
Connecting all kinds of ports can be a hassle. The second-generation MSI docking station lets you reduce all wire plugins to just one. It saves you and the IT department time and energy.
This USB-C docking station maximizes your productivity by connecting up to 3 external 4K UHD displays and centralizing many other ports. It supports 100-watt full power delivery.
Vegas. And you know what? If you want your base to look even more like the Sin City, then how about building some of those other historic landmarks right there at your base? Las Vegas has the Eiffel Tower, you have a sand temple. I think it works out alright. Plus, it gives those tired tourists even more of a reason to visit your resort. I see this as a win-win. Although, maybe the glitz and glamour isn't all for you. Let's scale it back a bit and build just a house. Although, everyone in Minecraft's built a house, so why not try to build the same house in different biome variations? Once you settle on a design, then you can take that and replicate that same idea in different biomes like a swamp, a desert, or whatever, using the blocks that are available to the region. Which means if you're looking for a change of scenery from your plains base, but you're still looking to have that feeling of home wherever you go, this is the best way to go about it. And before you place the blocks on that tundra version of your house, I recommend placing a dome of glass above it, because then you got yourself a snow globe, and that's too good of an opportunity to pass up on. By building the holiday feel laid out right in this time capsule, you're able to have a slice of Christmas whenever you want. And bonus points if you use command blocks to add particle effect snow while you're in there. That's a good touch. Though, scrounging up the glass for one of these is probably your most expensive task. So if you're looking to tackle that glass dome in an easier way, then you're gonna need a sand duplication machine. For some reason, when we use the end portal like so, we're able to bounce these gravity blocks in and out of the dimensions and make it so that we get loads of sand, or really whatever kind of gravity block you want. And since collecting these blocks can be quite the hassle when you've already cleared out the nearby ocean floors and mesas, this is a pretty great way to get a renewable source of sand. Though, just be aware that you are going to have to clear out some of the end portal frames to be able to do this. But once you do that, you can pump that newfound sand to get all the kind of glass that you need. Before you head back from picking up your sand in the end, don't leave so fast. Because if you really take the time to just look off past the end island into that blank expanse of nothing, you're gonna see just how much it resembles space. So why not push that to the limit and build our own space station right out there in the outer limits? And if you're just as nerdy as I am, you can push that task even further and build your own Death Star right out here in the middle of space. And if you think that sounds crazy, you wouldn't be mistaken, but it is definitely possible because Logical Geek Boy built one of these in his own survival world. So if you're looking for something to build in the end, then a technological terror might just be your next project. Although, what if you're at your new Void base and your elytra breaks down? Well, no worries, because as Simply Sark pointed out, there's a really terrific way to launch yourself over end Void gaps. And I'd highly recommend that all of you take the time to get good at this. It might just save your life. With the right amount of Riptide, Slow Falling, and Ender Pearl throws, we're able to launch ourselves hundreds of blocks across these gaps. If you're looking for a new way that's pretty easy to build and gets you all across the end and back, this is your new method. But if you're looking to conquer the last dimension once and for all, then you're gonna have to kill the Ender Dragon 20 times. Now, that sounds like an oddly specific number, but hear me out, because every time that we rematch the dragon and kill it, we get a new End Gateway portal. And for those of you who don't know, by killing the Ender Dragon this many times, we're able to get a whole ring of these End Gateway portals around your main island, which creates a really cool visual and quite the trophy if you're trying to show off to your friends. But maybe you don't want to fight the final boss in the game just to travel a couple hundred blocks, which I completely hear you. That's why, for the more technically minded, we've got piston bolts. By making one of these propulsion-based minecart speedways, we're able to really launch ourselves to different points of the map. Especially if we're talking about building one of these in the Nether, where you get to multiply the speed that you're traveling by 8 blocks per second. Though carving out the tunnel for one of these through lava and netherrack does not sound like a fun time, so what you're going to want to do is build a hole up to the nether roof and build it there. Up here, you get plenty of real estate to build the things you want, and without all the hassle of below the nether roof. And while I hear you, getting rid of a lot of bedrock does not sound like a fun time, as soon as you take the time to actually put through and do this, you can get a seamless way to blend your nether roof safe travels to the more hellish side down below. Plus, it gives you plenty of open air for ice boat travel. And speaking of ice boats, how about taking those off the straight path to your nether hub and instead putting them in one of these curved raceways? From there, you're able to have a lot of fun and a lot of speed as you race your friends around the track. Plus, by switching up the kinds of blocks that you use, you're able to have off-road sections just as well as speed boosts on your new track. Although I am gonna say, if you're gonna go through the effort of building one of these, maybe just do it in multiplayer, because the competition in single player is just not as fierce. And speaking of which, if that friend happens to beat you, I've got just the perfect way to get back at them. And for this, we're gonna have to take a trip over to their prized animal pen. And while you could kill them yourself, that's a little too obvious, and honestly, it's just not that fun. So to really crank this scheme up and keep your hands clean, you're gonna have to trap a Vindicator in the animal pen. According to Minecraft behavior, and as you can see on the wiki, when you name that Vindicator Johnny, it's gonna go ballistic against any mobs around it, giving us the shining way to ruin your friend's day. And if you remember to throw down the splash potions of invisibility on this thing, it'll give your friends such a headache, and you plenty of sweet, sweet revenge. But as soon as you've gotten over those psychopathic tendencies and you want to mend bridges with your friend, then making them a scavenger hunt is a pretty cool thing to do. By giving them a map with a little red X that marks the spot, you're able to send them off on a wild goose chase to go find some sweet loot. Though if you're still not over that loss in ice boat racing, you can turn this into a great fake treasure hunt and ruin your friend's day. And after you've been evicted from spawn for all your crimes against humanity, then how about taking to the skies and making yourself a new socially distanced Minecraft floating base? By taking the time to terraform and sculpt your own island up in the clouds, you're able to have both a natural and hard to reach Minecraft base to keep all the riffraff away. Or if you're not too interested in reaching the vertical build limit, then why not trying to reach the horizontal build limit? Or as we also like to call it, the world border. Because even though many people like to believe that Minecraft is infinite, if you travel 30 million blocks on either the X or Z coordinates, you're gonna see a world border. And that, folks, is the end of Minecraft. So if you're looking for some alone time on that multiplayer server, you're not gonna get much better than this. Though if just seeing some measly world border isn't enough to satisfy your journey, then how about dialing it back to the beta versions of Minecraft when the Farlands still existed? And if you're up for the bonkers task, then you can match Kilo Crazy Man's insane journey and walk to the Farlands on foot in survival. This'll definitely take some time to do, but as you can see from Kilo's stream, the payoff of reaching it is absolutely unmatched. Or maybe you don't want to visit the far reaches of Minecraft, and instead, you'd rather keep a little closer to spawn. Well, you're in luck, because with this command, you can actually reduce that world border inwards and give yourself more of a smaller yet intimate Minecraft world to play in. The Minecraft community did this for one of the seasons of their server, and it was pretty cool seeing more of the area around spawn populated, as opposed to the normal nether hub and spread out method. And if you're looking for the right group of people for all those SMP adventures, then how about joining a new small server community? For me personally, I find that whenever I'm down, a great way to get me busy is just by joining a small server of friends and playing some survival from them. It's a great way to learn new things about the game, and whether you join at the beginning of the world or right in the middle, you also get to have that really rare experience of seeing a server community grow, which I think is pretty awesome. Though maybe you don't play Minecraft for the experiences, but instead for that sweet cash. In which case, MrBeast and Skeppy have got you covered. By joining a YouTuber's Discord and staying in touch for all the different kinds of prizes they're giving out, you're able to win yourself some serious cash. Just be ready for the awkward conversation where you explain to the accountant or your parents how you made all that extra dough. But regardless, the odds of you winning that sum are pretty slim. And quite frankly, you probably got better chances at beating the game in hardcore mode. So if you've never tried that out and you're looking for a challenge, I highly recommend booting up a world in this, at least once just to get a feel for it. And while I'm not saying you're gonna have an epic 5-year run like Philza did, I'm not saying you won't, so why not give it a shot and at least have a different side of Minecraft to try out. Or if those regular game modes are just too bland for you, then there's plenty of custom game modes hitting the scene nowadays. So whether you're trying to beat one of the numerous impossible or cursed game modes that are out on the market, or my personal favorite, which is Fundy's Baby Mode, these custom game modes are a great way to take your survival world in a whole different direction than Mojang intended. And if we're talking about flipping the game on its head, then why not actually flip the game on its head and use this sideways gravity mod? I'm sure you've seen plenty of people try this out in your recommended feed, but through the use of the up and down and all around mod, you're able to change the way that gravity works and literally play the game sideways, upside down, you name it. So now the real question is, can you beat the game under those conditions? And if you're looking to make the game mind-bending in more ways than just gravity, then I highly recommend downloading the No Cubes mod. With this, your whole perspective on Minecraft's gonna change, and if you're looking for a different outlook on your world than just cubes, then this is definitely the strangest way to do it. And if after all that you still haven't had your fill on mods, then making your own mod pack and playing with your friends is an awesome way to do it. Though by the time you set that up and get all the mods working with each other, you're probably gonna be able to leave your house and then you can put the whole thing behind you. And if any of those projects sound interesting to you, then make sure to mind that subscriber or down below. And above all else, have a good one, alright?
Hello, I'm FTX Toycat, and Minecraft is a game which has many complexities to it. I'm sure this goes without saying, but there are many things that you can learn fairly quickly in Minecraft, but there are many other things that might take months or even years to learn. And I figured, given that many people might not know these things, and lots of people are just getting into the game for the very first time, it'd be useful to go through some of the weird quirks that Minecraft has that takes some time to work out naturally, but that I can give you the cheat sheet for and teach you with today's video. So here are 42 things you need to know about the game. We're going to mix things up by starting with 21 things that you actually should do, and then having 21 things that you really shouldn't do, so you know both the things that will help you out a lot and the things that will help you out to not do a lot. So with that said, let's dive straight into the first thing you should know, because the #1 most searched thing about Minecraft always ends up being how do you find diamonds. And it's funny because all of the common advice that people share amongst themselves is always at least slightly wrong. There are so many like memes about the best way to find diamonds that are never perfectly accurate, and this is because most people just assume you go below ground to find diamonds. And if you know a little bit more, you might be like, well, you don't just go below ground, you've got to go below Y15. That's right, diamonds are only found below Y15, but then the advice beyond that gets a little bit tricky. Because technically right now, here in the destroyed chunk, while I'm at Y=3, I'm technically below Y=15, but it's still not the best place for me to find diamonds. If I start mining, I might eventually find diamonds, it's entirely possible, but that doesn't mean this is a great place to go to find diamonds. But instead, what you want to do is you want to go up a few layers, from Y=3 or something like that, to either Y=5, which has some of the best diamond results, or Y=11. If I show you this graph on screen right now, it shows the distribution of diamond ore by layer. As you can see, it only starts at Y15, but there aren't many at 15, and there also aren't many at the very base layer of bedrock. You want to go somewhere in between those numbers. Again, a lot of people say a lot of different things, but 11 and 5 are the two things you need to know that have the most diamonds. So when someone says, oh no, it's Y=13, bro, it's Y=7, bro, just know that one, they're saying bro far too often while talking about Minecraft diamonds, and two, you need to know that you don't go to either of those layers, 5 or 11, or in fact what I recommend is both. Mine down here at 5, do your branch mining technique, and then also mine at Y11. By the way, a thing that I should mention, because you're going to need to know this if you want to dig at Y=5 or Y=11, is how do you find your Y value. It's really easy on Bedrock because it's the middle value of the coordinates in the top left of the screen, and obviously you can press F3 on Java if you want to, but the easiest way to find out without having to have either of those things enabled is to find the bedrock layer where you can stand consistently on the ground, because you can't, you can dig below Y=3, but this is where you can't dig below some bits of the bedrock. Find this layer, and that's Y=3, so you dig up 2 blocks from here, so go up a little bit, then go up another block to find Y=5, and again, you can just do this exact same counting thing to work it out from anywhere else. If you really want to, if you want to work it from the surface, bear in mind most Minecraft surface is roughly 64, the water level is roughly at that point too, so yeah, if you want to dig down from water, you can do it that way, but what I recommend is just dig all the way down to bedrock, and then dig up a few blocks, and then know that this is always Y=5, and this is where the diamonds are found. So a thing you definitely shouldn't do in Minecraft, and again, this is a common piece of advice, but it's always just given with the advice of don't dig straight down, and I agree, don't just dig straight down like this. This is a dangerous thing to do, and you're not always going to pay the consequences, but when you do, you'll fall in lava, and you can lose all of your stuff. So what I instead recommend doing is stand between 2 blocks. The cool thing about Minecraft is there is a space where you're technically standing on both blocks, which means if you remove one of them, you can still stand on the other one, meaning if there is lava down there, we wouldn't fall into it because we can see what's down there. Okay, here's a cave, for example. We know we don't have to fall into that cave, and if that cave was a lava pool instead, we wouldn't fall into it, although I did just fall into it. But you get the point. You can dig down, and you can guarantee you won't fall into a lava pit by always digging 2 blocks at the same time, or if you really want to be meticulous, you can dig 4 blocks at the same time, because again, Minecraft blocks, you can stand at the edge of them by not really standing on them, which means that, yeah, fun fact, you can stand on 4 blocks at once if you want to. Next up, I have a tip that's really going to help you out if you are a survival player, because most Minecraft players seem to know that you can pick block in creative. I can look at a block of stone, and I can press the middle mouse button, or whatever other button, to pick block, and then I can have stone in my inventory. But you might not know that you can do that in survival, because as you can see right here, I'm in survival, but yet I grab myself a whole stack of stone. If I use all of this stack of stone somewhere, you can notice how I can then move that away, and then I can grab another one by doing the exact same thing, because you can pick block in survival. The reason a lot of people don't know this is because, one, again, like it seems like a creative feature, like it was fairly recently added to survival, and by recently I mean a few years ago, so a lot of people don't know that, and second of all, it's not bound to your controller by default in Minecraft Bedrock. That's right, if you play with a controller, as you would on a console, then what you're actually going to need to do is find the pick block item key, which again is by default not bound, and put it onto something. I recommend up on the D-pad, but you can put it on anything you want, including right stick down, including literally A if you want to be crazy and ignore your jump button. You can put it on anything you like, and isn't that wonderful? Next up, I have another tip for what you can do with that stone if you choose to place it. By the way, I just got hit by a skeleton and the arrow went through the fire, which means it lights me on fire too. So fun fact, here's a thing you might not know is possible in Minecraft, and usually isn't if you don't have a netherrack fence around your house. Anyway, so if you want to make stairs or slabs using those stone blocks you got, you might think that's a great idea. And for stone slabs, sure, use a crafting table all the time. I'm just going to go to a different crafting table. However, if you want to make stairs, the classic 6 block of your choice in a little staircase pattern to make 4 stairs is not actually the best way to do this. And it might not matter if you're literally making 4 or you're making just a few of these stairs, it might be more worthwhile just to keep doing this anyway. However, if you are making anything more than that, in the Village and Pillage update, a brand new item was added. I say brand new, it was arguably added many years ago, but it added a new use for the stone cutter, which means you can take that same stack of stone and you can craft it into stone stairs at a 1-to-1 ratio. So instead of getting 4 stairs for every 6 stone you put in, every stone you put in turns into 1 of these. So we're going to take 6 stone and turn it into 6 stairs, which I will do the maths for you. It's very complex, so I'll show you the working out on screen. 4 is less than 6 by 2, in fact, so you get 150% more stairs when you use a stone cutter. So if you're making any significant number of stairs or walls or anything like that, use a stone cutter. Pro tip. So yeah, make sure you don't craft stone stairs at a crafting table unless you absolutely have to, but make sure you do go looking in plains biomes if you're looking for any form of mob. A surprisingly unknown fact is the fact that plains biomes in Minecraft are the place where most mobs will spawn. Do you want chickens? Do you want sheep? Do you want pigs? Do you want cows? Alongside it, you get the feathers, you get the eggs, you get the wool, you get the leather, and you get meat, which is very crucial if you want to survive in Minecraft, assuming you're not doing a veganism run, of course. But if you want all of these things, you need to come to a plains biome. What does a plains biome look like? Well, it looks like a plains in real life, which if you don't know, is pretty flat, mostly green, has very green grass, and you're going to find a lot of mobs here. As you can see, there's 2 cows over there already, there's a few sheep over there. All of the mobs you want, you're going to find here. So if you want to start a sheep farm, or if you just want to have somewhere to sleep for the night, which requires wool, sadly, then these are the guys you're going to need, and the only way you're going to get them is inside of a plains biome. However, you want to make sure you don't come here at nighttime, and the reason for that is because mobs won't spawn, or at least the friendly mobs you're looking for, and instead all of the hostile mobs that you're definitely not looking for will spawn instead. And although it's worth coming back here if you came here in the day so you can pick up the mobs you didn't kill if you are desperate, it's worth noting all of the mobs that you want to avoid, zombies, skeletons, creepers, will spawn here at night. That's assuming you do want to avoid them. If you're looking for them, then plains biomes and deserts are the 2 best for finding them, assuming you haven't lit yours up with torches, that is. But both of these biomes are very flat and very filled with mobs because of that, or at least it's the same number of mobs, but you're more likely to see one, which means that effectively you can just think of it as you will find more mobs in a desert and in a plains biome. Assuming you can't find yourself a plains or a savanna biome, which has much of the same benefits, but you really want some food and you really don't want to eat that plant-based stuff, then what you can do is find yourself a river. This is, rivers are a great place to find yourself lots of spawning salmon, which are a great food once you cook them up, and they're an okay food if you don't cook them up. So yeah, go swimming in one of these rivers, and within no time at all, like right here alone, you can see there's 3 salmon, which, fun fact, come in slightly different sizes. That might be a Bedrock exclusive, but still, you can find some salmon. It's a great food. You can sometimes even find some cod, sometimes even some tropical fish and some pupfish. But really, salmon's the one you want if you want food. However, while you're here, make sure you don't, go into the river without carefully looking first. One of Minecraft's most dangerous, and let's be honest, just annoying mobs, is found underwater and can wreck you seriously early game. If you're at the stage where you need food, you need meat, you need stuff like that, then you're going to be especially susceptible to drowns and tridents. You can spot drowns underwater pretty easily because their faces do glow, and if you see any drowns with trident, just know they can attack you from a lot further than you can attack them from, and you're going to die if you don't stop them. And And just in case you don't believe me, and you don't believe the woes of the Minecraft community when it comes to blind grounds and tridents, let me show you how much damage one can do to you on hard difficulty without any armor on. As you can see, he's going to hit me, and he's going to almost immediately kill me. Had there been a second round of a trident, or had he just hit his second trident very fast after, he would have killed me. And although it's kind of annoying that drowns have unlimited tridents to throw, I mean, like, it's the sort of thing you're meant to be able to throw once and be done with the normal players, it's still very interesting regardless. Let's talk about the single best source of smelting fuel in the game, because it is available here, not just by the bucket load, which is how you're going to want to get it, by the way, buckets of lava, but it's available by the ocean load. There are millions of blocks of lava just within a few, 100 blocks of the spawn of your portal. There are trillions upon trillions upon trillions of blocks of lava, and every individual one of these buckets of lava is going to be the equivalent of 100 smelts in Minecraft, the best for any individual fuel you can find in the game, meaning that if you want to smelt a lot of things, one stack, sure, use coal if you want to, smelting 100 stacks, well, you're going to need some lava buckets. Which is why the automatic smelters that I have set up here, so to make glass, which I need to fix the end, the reason they use lava buckets is because they're the most efficient fuel, so you can just take a few lava buckets and smelt a lot of sand. Now you know. When it comes to lava, you might assume it's the same in every dimension, but the truth is lava works very different inside the Nether, and it can catch you off guard, because lava is not only found in these huge pits right here, but it's also found randomly when you dig through the walls, and when you do randomly find it, you'll notice how it flows much faster, and it can also flow much further, so it's something you really have to keep your eye out for, because lava in the Nether flows just about as fast and as far as water does in the overworld, which means insane things like this are possible, where lava can fill up entire caverns and cover entire sections of the Nether because you're not careful. And oh no, we've done it again. And yeah, you really have to always be on the lookout for lava when mining in the Nether. This might be possible to use in some way, but it's very dangerous. Even then, as I was talking about it, I almost made a mistake. So we all know about the downsides of lava. We can all see a pit of lava and say, hey, that's dangerous. And hopefully now you can look at a pit of Nether lava and say it's dangerous. But the truth is, it is a very valuable block, and that's why finding it in a speedrun, or just in any Minecraft survival world, is incredibly useful. And the reason for that is because if you place down a water bucket and then immediately place down a lava bucket, you can make obsidian. This is really handy because you can make obsidian without having to mine it. A lot of people think you need a diamond pickaxe to make a Nether portal, but guess what? That's entirely false. All you need is a lot of water buckets and a lot of lava buckets, or just a big source of lava like a lava pit, and then you need some water, and you can make yourself a Nether portal from scratch just like this. It's really handy, it's really convenient, and it's a really fun way to save yourself a lot of time if you don't want to mine for diamonds, because, even the tip I mentioned earlier, it's still going to take some serious time to find diamonds, and maybe you don't like mining in Minecraft, maybe you think, oh yeah, with the current, caves that haven't been updated in a while, by the way, but with the current lack of cave update, what's even the point of mining? And I agree with you, so what you can do instead is you can go straight to the Nether if you choose to. However, if you're going to make a Nether portal via the traditional means or via the water and lava bucket technique, make sure you don't place it too low down. Placing it on top of a mountain might be too high up, but don't place it below sea level. Don't place it in a cave where you find a lava pit naturally, because if you place down a Nether portal really low, the odds are you're going to spawn into the Nether quite low down, which is not what you want, because you might spawn